Hello everyone, Warangel here, and welcome back to our Western Roman Empire campaign for Total War Attila. Now, first of all, let me apologise for not uploading an episode last week. I wasn't feeling well, but I am feeling better now, at least back to normal for me. So, yeah, all things are good, and we should be able to carry on with today's episode like normal. And I'm going to have to remind myself when we actually get back to the campaign map what is actually going on in the game itself at this moment in time, but we are starting things off with a defensive battle against Africa. They're bringing in a tiny little army initially, and then they're bringing in quite the large amount of reinforcements. They do have similar numbers to us, but we're going to have to fight this and just see how we do. So without further ado, guys and girls, I'll see you guys down on the battlefield. So here we are, guys, on the battlefield, and what a sight it is to watch the Roman legion march into battle. Now, the original plan for this battle, if I zoom back out again, was to go after the small army that was going to start on the battlefield, and then deal with the enemy garrison when they arrived. I didn't know when they were going to arrive or where they were going to come in, until the game warned me they were coming in on my left flank. So I figured the plan would be to run straight up, deal with these 4 units, and then swing around to deal with these. Now, things could have gone better in this battle. I'm going to put it out there. What ended up happening is I sent my unit of equites to try and chase down those mercenary desert hurlers, because I wanted to try and eliminate them as quickly as I could. I didn't really think though about sending them off straight into battle while the others still were trying to catch up. That was my fault. So as you saw, one unit of the the Desert Legionary of Defectors managed to throw their missile weapons into my units. I pulled them through the unit of hurlers in order to try and get them out of there, and then I was hoping, as my units were getting into combat range, to be able to swing around and actually finish off that mercenary unit. Now, it didn't quite go according to plan, because I originally ordered a lot of my troops to go and charge into each of these individual units. But what ended up happening, because of them continuing to chase after my cavalry, was that these 2 units were supposed to go after this unit of defectors, and instead they got caught on the Desert Spear unit here. So, yeah, that caused a problem, and my equites shattered as a result. To prepare for the onslaught from the enemy though, I put all my spearmen into formation as a line here, and then put my Levis Armatare behind them in order to swing around and try and go after their flank. I've also got a couple units of swordsmen, the ones that didn't make it into combat, to try and deal with and support where needed. And my basic plan at this point was to just charge straight in. I was hoping in particular to try and catch those bowmen in between the 2 units. Unfortunately, they're much faster than my units are, so that didn't really help. These guys decided to come shooting past, again my fault for double clicking instead of single, and then my units all start to engage. Now I saw an opportunity here because I figured, I can send this unit of Nordic spearmen to go after the scout equites, can catch them in a sort of pincer, and then be able to move these guys into a position to be able to try and attack these guys on the flank. Now while this was all going on, then I got my Palatino guards back here trying to, rigidly to provide what more support I can. However, I noticed now in the replay that it would have been better if I put them into some sort of formation to stop them getting shot at, because it was later on in the battle when I realized, oh wait, my entire unit's nearly dead and they haven't even fought anything. Now I know why. Anyway, as you can see, the Levi Avatore did not really get up to much. I tried getting them to do skirmish formation, which is why this one was able to run away from this unit of defectors. But this unit unfortunately got caught by the scout equites. Despite me trying to throw in some shots, they were able to escape from over here, so that made things a bit annoying. Over on the right flank, we were able to eventually deal with those desert spears, allowing my troops here to get in position to try and flank the enemy units here. Now we're doing this while we're getting the notifications that units are breaking and running, and we're going to be experiencing a lot of these in this battle. One unit is already, I believe, they still manage to try and run away as and when they can. These guys are going to shatter any minute, very unfortunate. And over here, what I'm trying to do is I've got this unit of Legio going to be charging into the units of the Common Spears here. We've got one unit already starting to waver. This unit, because of how badly damaged it was, I figured a good thing for it would be to try and chase down some of these bowmen, just to keep them moving and not shooting into me. However, when you've only got one unit doing it, it's very easy for me to just focus on one and let the other one shoot into you. I did take a slight opportunity to try and chase after these guys and throw my javelins into them, but unfortunately turning them around exposed them to so much fire they just took a ton of casualties in one volley, and not really good for us. If we come back over here, you can see it's still a little bit of a mess, to say the least. This unit of Limitane Magister Militum ended up retreating. I was able to pull them back though in time and be able to bring them in to try and continue going after the enemy's Palatina Guard. This has taken up more time than I was hoping it would, but nevertheless the fight is still going on. My unit Palatina Guard, like I said, took a whole bunch of casualties, and between that again, side-charged by this unit of defectors, caused my commander to run away very quickly, and not really doing that good for morale, let's be honest. You can also see over here that my Levisanatare end up coming back, only for them to retreat yet again. Luckily the enemy Scout Equites do as well, and shatter, so that's something at least. But now I'm a little concerned. If we put up on the balance bar here, you can see that they still outnumber us by 150 odd men, and that number's going higher and higher. We do get the news though that the enemy commander is killed, which is good news for us. It means that we can free up these units to try and help support the line. At this point though, I'm just not feeling optimistic. I'm getting this notification popping up all the time because my commander's running away, and then he's just managed to come back. I'm moving him to try and get close enough to be able to support, but then at this moment he decides to shatter. Luckily though, he hasn't died, he's just retreated, so if I'm hovering over one of my units a minute, you'll be able to see that perhaps them turn around and say, well, their penalty, listen, morale. Yeah, friends are routing, but I haven't got anything about the general being alive, just +2 instead. Very annoying, but we are getting units retreating and then just bringing them back. Ugh. Anyway, at this point, we've still got this big clump of fighting going on in the middle. I'm trying to bring units into position, like I noticed these two units here of Militum. I'm charging away towards that unit of spears. So I figured what I'll do is I'll send one unit to come down and flank them, the other one can try and chase after that unit of Nordic spearmen. It was only a little bit later I realised these guys got the ability to rapid advance, increasing their movements, which would have been quite useful if I knew about it. But, never matter. Luckily for us though, this is the moment where the enemy decided to chain route. They've still got a unit of swordsmen here, hanging on for dear life, and they've also got units over here, where we can see the Nordic spearmen again chased by my Militum. We've got this unit of combatant and spears getting peppered by the enemy Sagatari. We're trying to keep them on the run though, and it's sort of a, follow the leader situation with these guys leading the way. Then my unit of combatant and spears, and then the Nordic spearmen, and then the Militum. But we've managed to clear things up. The only thing left to deal with now is the defectors, and I've got them surrounded. They're not going to win, but my concern is that they may bring up too many casualties for me to really be happy. But they are shaken, and it's just a matter of wearing them down. Watch the combat going at the moment, and I always forget to zoom in close for these battles, because they look really, really cool watching them fight. Especially, I think one of the mods I use has got it so it increases the amount of... Oh my god. Sorry, that guy just had his head exploded by a spear charge and again shoved right into it. Wow. Did not expect that. But yeah, at this point though, these guys have shattered. I think everybody is starting to shatter. There's just these last units of Sagatorum over here. And it was at this point I thought, right, battle's over, I've won. Do I want to try and chase down the survivors? I'm not really in a position to do that, so I just accept instead the Pyrrhic victory. It could have been better, it really could have, but looking at the bodies scattered on the battlefield right now, this was a hard-fought battle, but we won, and that is the main thing. So with this victory guys, I'll see you back on the campaign map. Well, that could have gone much better. Well, we'd end up losing 2 E4 units. Unfortunate, but what did we manage to do to the enemy? Well, we've killed a few more of them. Right, let's take on some replenishments. Okay, Britain want peace. I'm willing to give them peace for now. My reason being is that we're going to come back to Britain at some point, but if we can reduce the amount of enemies we have to deal with right now, I'll be happy with that. Speaking of enemies, Simium is under attack. I don't care. They can be taken as far as I'm concerned. Decisive defeat. To be fair, that was pretty much as expected, and they actually decided to take the settlement this time. That's fine. It's been sacked and damaged a whole bunch of times, so the way I see it, they've taken over some ruins and they're going to try and build it up and repair it, so good for luck for them, I guess. Alright, enemy killed in battle. Defeat the glory of Mars, Illyria, to the sea. Where's these guys? If I had to guess, is it one of these? No, that's Rebels. Glory of Mars. Why does it give me the mission to say only we can control the seas? Who knows? Who knows? What else has happened? We've negotiated peace. Lazica have now become Zoroastrian. Good for them. And we have now entered our food shortages in several places. That's good news. That's really good news. Okay. We do have some rebels down here to Renton, but we have a legion making our way down in order to deal with them. So Castellum should be able to finish them off, and then we'll be able to bring them back up and then to the north in order to secure our borders. Hopefully we can just about track them down. Excellent. Okay. I think that mod that was suggested has started to work. They got access to onagers, but all these units are units I can recruit, which makes a lot more sense, like I've talked about before. So, yeah, nice and easy compared to dealing with cataphracti and stuff like that. Anyway, let's take on the warriors, just get that bit of extra replenishment, and then we can start making our way back up towards Aquilia. So that's you sorted. Augusta has taken quite a few casualties. Yet, not enough to stop us from, well, to be able to let us just march into Marcomedes easily. Ugh. Let me just do that. Okay, we won. Okay, what was the casualties like, though? Oh, we only lost one unit. I'll happily take that. That was a risk. I admit that. We could subjugate them. I'm not going to. I'm just going to take my settlement back. At least these two units, they're going to have to try and start fighting and try and take back Marcomedes. Otherwise, they're going to start taking attrition. So we'll see them at some point. What I will do, just to help things out in the meantime, I will recruit some more mercenaries. Just so we have some full units available to us when they come to attack. Rather than having to rely on, you know, these badly damaged units that we've had to use for some time. I will recruit some more units here just to replace the two that were lost. I think... Oh no, we had Legio, wasn't it, as well. We can't recruit Legio here, so we'll make do. But there we go. Pacivius Vespasius and the Augusta Legion have managed to reclaim Archimedes. I'm happy with that. Right, we can go ahead and repair some of the buildings. That should help things a little bit more out. And we've got garrison encampments now in both places. How are we looking for... Food is an issue, right. We're going to see how it looks like next turn with the fishing jetties reinstalled. If they were back to normal, it'd be great. And then we can start maybe influencing, developing Leptis Magna in order to get some different... buildings, maybe go for the Forum or something. Otherwise, we can always upgrade this to become a fishing jetty as well. In fact, I might just go ahead and do that right away. Better to need it and have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Now, how's it going over here? You've managed to take Tomasiga, didn't you? We're in the middle of trying to demolish things, so what I'm going to do first of all with you... Yeah, we're going to dismantle this. We'll keep... Do I want to keep the military jetties? Not really. We'll keep the noble estates just for the extra public order for the moment. And levy center, we could keep it if we wanted the Persian scouts. I suppose it could do for now. We will have to try and keep some extra control, and so what I might actually end up doing We don't really need them. No, wrong one. I'll dismantle that. Next turn we'll see about maybe swapping out this for trade or something like that. And we'll keep this for a little while longer because, well, eventually we might be able to swap it out for one of these, but not at the moment. Going for the gas encampment would be useful though. In fact, I might just go ahead and do that next turn when we get the cash. We don't really need that build in there, and for terms of public order, and encampment will give us much better, well, value for money. So yeah, let's leave that. As for you, you haven't got a good wife. That's a shame. Let's give you a zeal. I think he deserves a couple of things right now. We'll give you that as well. And sure, you can have some extra armor. We'll focus all in on Legatus. Oh no, actually. Let's go Legatus and Dux. Reason being is that he was a level 2, which actually increases upkeep and things like that. So going for this would be a much better option. Although, given how badly his unit did in that fight, maybe we should have gone for something different instead. Anyway, I think that's everything we need to do this turn. Let's just double check here. Anything we can do to gather support or get some embezzlement going? Apart from you, I don't really want to use your influence up. Do we want to try and go for any of these? Could be useful. Yeah, we'll stick them in wherever we can. You can't do anything yet. We'll stick you in. Since I don't know who does what, at this point I haven't bothered to really look. Well, actually, you don't need to. We'll cancel you. Cancel you. We'll put you in. That will do. There we go. Right, and we'll finally check diplomacy just to see if there's anything else we can get, any more trade or anything coming in.
Welcome, welcome, my friend.
Let's have a look.
I will give ear to you and give tongue to the people's word.
Okay, we've got some more money coming in from Britain. I'm happy with that. What about the Vandals?
I have little gain in wasting the day on you. What you say had better...
Okay. It's all extra money coming in, and that's my main concern.
Come, let me hear your talk.
Okay, you're not willing. Never mind. There we go, enough to end the turn, I think. Alright, here comes Africa, like I said. They've managed to recruit a unit of desert hurlers. I think, all in all, we're going to be pretty okay in this fight. I would have been absolutely appalled if I saw that all of a sudden we died. To be fair, we still lost 170 men, but that was consistent of garrison units, so as long as it wasn't the main army, I'm not that fussed. We will take on the warriors just to try and get that a little bit extra replenishment. Oh, they were just able to take in and come in and take Dalmavia. Right, of course, rebels. Here, oh, Qatari. Okay, so they still got access to a couple of units, but not as bad as it has been. Unless the mod isn't working and I'm just mistaken. Who knows? Anyway, we will go aggressive because of them having that onager. It tends to be if they've got a siege weaponry, that's the best option. And luckily for us, I was able to succeed. I will take on those warriors. This one will be a little bit more difficult. Right. This one I think I will have to fight myself. We are outnumbered by about 200 men. Yeah, we're going to have to fight this one ourselves. So, see you guys down there. So, here we are at Pax Augusta, and as you can see, it's not looking to be a good day for battle with all this rain. But, nevertheless, we are going to have to fight this. And I'm going to tell you now, this is going to be a very close fight. Now, you can see the enemy have deployed all of their forces on one side of the battlefield, which I thought was great for me. The onagers are firing away. They are targeting my units of spearmen here that are blocking one of the main approaches into the settlements. I thought, given typical AI behavior, that this is what's going to happen. They're going to try and attack my units here because they got the watchtower to provide some support. I've covered this approach then with my Continental Spears general units, just to make sure, and I've kept my unit of Sagittari and Legio back here in order to be able to charge out and go to where they need to go. Now, oh, and I also got my Equites over here. I thought the AI was going to do its typical thing, that since I've left this center bit exposed, that they will focus their march either through here or going after my spearman units. I was sort of right, but not exactly 100% right, which is supposed to be a slight problem. Now, unfortunately over here, my spearmen are taking shots from the onager, and there's not really much I can do about it, because I was trying to wait for my Equites to be able to charge past the enemy and go after them. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, I think I should have done it sooner than what I ended up doing, which was leaving them here until this unit of Levi Avatore got close enough to spot them. So these guys are going to fire their volleys of javelins straight into the unit, and that of course made them become revealed, and the unit of enemies bring in... can't talk. The enemy starts bringing in their units of Equites. Now, I'm also getting peppered by javelins from the Armatore, so that's going to be a problem. And my Equites at this point aren't really going to be around for the battle, so we can safely ignore them. What ends up happening over here is pretty much like I expected, though. These guys are still holding on. Their watchtowers providing missile support as well as the Sagittari, but those rocks being thrown by the onager is just decimating the unit. Annihilating the unit, I should say. We're already down to half casualties for this unit of spearmen, and between the two of them, yeah, that's already caused them to retreat. They're going to be sticking around a little longer, which is good, but I was hoping that they would have taken less casualties than they did. And like I said, over here, the Equites aren't really relevant to the battle anymore. I can just leave them to it. Now, because of this, I felt, right, I'm going to have to try and reinforce this section because of them bringing in more units. This unit of limiting Border Guard, I think they were doing much better against the Celtic Spearmen than I anticipated, so I had to bring in the Legio in order to try and help support that flank. Now, while I was doing this, the enemy has brought in all their units heading towards the center of the settlement, and I thought, okay, that's fine, they're going to come and attack this unit of Continental Spears. That's okay, we'll be able to then deal with them, hold them, and then hopefully be able to flank them. Doesn't quite work out. Instead, the enemy focused their attention first of all on this particular watchtower. They got this unit of skirmishers coming in order to capture it. And these guys are just having a bad time. The skirmishers here, the slingmen, keep throwing shots into them. I'm trying to get them so they can actually sort of face the enemy, and because retreating them is just going to get them killed, so I'm putting them into shield formation and trying to get them to actually face, but for some reason they decide to face that way, even though I told them to turn around. So now I had to go around and give them the order to turn around. They're getting peppered as a result, not really looking good. But one good bit of news, we managed to deal with that unit of Limitani bodyguards even. Now, I couldn't just bring in units to retreat because, of course, these guys are still sticking around. So what I'm trying to do is use my Continental Spears here and shoot at them with the Sagittari as when I can. Unexpectedly though, until I noticed about this point, the enemy is not trying to attack my Continental Spears. Instead, they've actually gone through the next road in order to come after the victory points. Very frustrating. So what it meant then is, instead of doing what I was planning to do, I'm going to have to bring in my unit of Legio to run past and try and engage this unit of Armatore. Now I thought to myself, that should still work out fine. These light skirmishers going up against heavy melee infantry, this should be a pretty easy fight, right? So I'm sending these guys off, they're going to engage them. My Sagittari is still firing down here. Not doing a lot of damage, to be honest, but at least they're shooting over the buildings and raining down arrows upon the enemy units here. And my Continental Spears are still ready to receive the eventual charge. Over on this side, we're able to have dealt now with that unit of border guards, and I'm bringing these guys in ready to try and potentially deal with these units of skirmishers. I'm giving them a chance to catch up because some of them have got caught up chasing after the unit. You can still see some of them trailing behind here. But I'm trying to be careful as well, because of the way the Sagittari are firing. They are being very wide in their shooting range, so I didn't really want them hitting my units of Celtic Spearmen. So I'm trying my best. These guys still stopping and starting, which was really annoying. But we're able to charge into the Onagers and go after the enemy Palatina Guard. Now I was hoping this would be enough to be able to try and pin them in place. But then unfortunately the enemy brought in their Palatina, heavy melee infantry, right, to go after my troops. Now, fortunately for me, they have got poor morale and they're not really too good. They're much better at doing, again, being anvils, but they're still putting up a fight against my combatant spears. Sagittari is still firing down on this unit. I'm trying to focus them on the rear so they can focus this clump of enemies more than hitting my Celtic Guard, but there's only so much I can do in terms of accuracy. Now over here, I was right with my Legio doing a fair bit of damage to this Oratore unit. But unfortunately the enemy skirmishers have come in as reinforcements. Those slingers that were firing on me earlier have run out of ammunition and have decided to come over this way. Now, not necessarily a problem. My Legio will still be more than capable of dealing with both of these units. The problem is that they're being held up by these units, and that's been a major problem for me. If we continue the thing though, you can see that we are still trying. We've got these guys firing away. We've got the watchtower over here trying to fire down into the units of Palatina. These guys are still being shot at as much as we can, but again, it's taken casualties from the Celtic Spearmen, who are heavily outnumbered as well, especially by the Palatina Guard, who are melee infantry. These guys are better fighting spearmen, and we are playing on a harder difficulty, don't forget. As a result, though, these unit of Celtic Spearmen have ended up retreating. I was hoping we might be able to bring them back, but I noticed then the Amatore start chasing them down, so I'm not exactly holding my hopes out for them, although... Did I... No, looks like I was wrong. They changed their minds. Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, I don't remember everything that happens on the battlefields as and when they do, so I'm trying to do this as I'm record commentary, as I'm playing. So sometimes my details aren't as accurate as I remember them to be. Anyway, these guys are still firing away, doing what they can as best they can. These guys come back. I'm sending them over to deal with the enemy Onager crew. I figured that'd be a nice easy target for them, and hopefully they'll be able to provide a real distraction to the back here, maybe even be able to do some rear charges into the Palatina. Over on my left flank, you can see here the Legio are still carved their way through the Amatore. We've managed to knock them down to less than half strength at the moment, and they are wavering, but we've still got to deal with both units, and they are hanging on in there, frustratingly long enough to be able to make this a bit of a problem. Now, we're able to deal with the enemy Onager crew, which is good. It means now that I can bring in this unit of Celtic Spearmen to do some rear charges. Unfortunately, I didn't realise this unit of Amatore was still hanging around, so I was hoping that we could have dealt with these a little faster, but unfortunately that didn't work out. We managed to cause them to retreat. That's something. So what I'm trying to do with this my Legio unit now is chase down enough of the Amatore from this unit here to shatter them. Once that was done, I was going to start bringing them in to try and flank. Unfortunately, this unit managed to, well, rally, and they've now coming back, and they're going to provide even more of a annoyance in terms of keeping my units delayed. The Celtic Spearmen are winning decisively, which is good news, but they have been rear charged. I tried to alleviate it by getting them to bring them out and charge in instead, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And between all the casualties, the fact they were attacked in the rear, enough of them didn't turn around in time that this unit started retreating and this unit started retreating. The enemy now has still got the disadvantage. We outnumber them nearly 2-1, but they've still got a pretty good unit here with the Palatina Guard, and my forces can't make up their mind if they're going to retreat or not. You actually see the situation here now. We've got my Legio starting to make their way around. We've got the enemy Palatina just sort of hanging around deciding what to do. And what's happening here is that I'm trying to cycle charge each of my units. So like the combatant and spears retreated, so my Sagittari were trying to hold the enemy's Palatina Guard back. Now they've managed to rally, and now I'm bringing them in to deal with them. These were doing this rally as well and then come back into charge, but it's not looking good. They are both shaken, they're just going to struggle holding on against the enemy commander. If we head back over here now, the Levi Armatory that came in as a distraction for the Legio has now been dealt with. So now we're in a position now to be able to send these guys against the enemy Palatina. I think at this point, yeah, that's the only unit they had left. But I thought to myself, okay, we're not doing too bad. We've still got 3 units, the enemy have only got 1. And they are about, well, half strength, nearly. So I figured, right, between these guys and a nice good rear charge from the Legio, that should be enough to deal with them. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work. This unit's already starting to retreat, they're going to eventually shatter before we know it. This unit Sagittari is also starting to retreat. And then I was just left with 1 unit against 1 unit, and I admit at this point I was concerned. I didn't want this unit to eventually sort of shatter and maybe lose the combat this closely. So now we're just at the point where we've got Palatina Guard against Legio, and it's just a matter of fighting to see which one will win. So yeah, we're just going to enjoy the combat a bit. We're going to slow things down a little and remove the UI, just so we can watch the combat in all its splendor. Thanks to the combat mods I'm using, there's a lot more kill animations than there usually be, so it's quite nice to see them just watching them do stuff like headbutting the enemy, like this guy here was just doing. Or, oh, he's blocking away. Okay, he's been pushed back. Okay, oh, this guy got cut down just then. Yeah, basically this is what it came down to. I couldn't do much more. We do have the watchtower back here, still firing in as much as it can. But because of the angle it's shooting at with the buildings and that, it wasn't doing a lot. Occasionally it hits 1 or 2 units, like models like this one here. Models? Oh, I've been doing too much painting for my Necrons at the moment. And my Luminef. But, yeah. We're still trying our best. The combat's still going to go on a little longer. I think at this point it's safe to say we can fast forward it. You can see that they're shaken. We're luckily the ones winning. They are starting to waver, and eventually, when you're ready, game of course, they retreat and we win the battle. Like I said, it was a very closely fought battle, 1 unit against 1 unit in the very end, and even then it still kept going. I was waiting for that moment where it says your unit is running away. Luckily, we heard this instead, and yet another Pyrrhic victory. But the main thing was we managed to hold on to Pax Augusta, and that I was happy with. So, with this victory, guys, let's head back to the campaign map, and let our dead be burned? Buried? I can't remember. What did the Romans do with their dead? But bear in mind, we were Christians, so it wouldn't surprise me that, since it's only been a few years since we swapped over, that they still bury the dead? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's go back to the campaign map. So yet another Pyrrhic victory, but a victory nonetheless. Now, I'm in 2 minds whether or not I'm going to actually show that battle in the episode, but I probably will. It's just, it didn't go as smoothly as I would have liked, but we still won, so I can't complain, really, can I? But we will take on the warriors just to build up the garrison once more, ready for this one to eventually try and attack us again. And I think we can try and at least fit through one more turn. Africa has been destroyed. Good news. Galicia, right. Why are you going to have issues, right? Political favours, I'm just going to let them try and get their own positions and keep our influence up. Right, still minus 11. Why is that? Religious differences, immigration, characters and taxes. I don't know what the characters are about, and why that's been an issue, because there's no characters in the province. We don't have a governor. So that's, unless it's talking about my faction leader or something like that, I don't know. But we're going to have to send you now back over towards Asterica to be ready to deal with the rebels that are going to be spawning next time from there. Ugh, religion is really starting to be a pain in the butt. I suppose it's real life when you think about it, but still. It is a pain in the ass to deal with in this game. Right, let's get that built. Let's go back to Tamasiga, I mean. Okay, we'll dismantle that. We'll swap this over to this. And we will swap that over to a Vicus. Plus 11. I think if we give it one more turn, we'll be able to bring the Rogue Tier Legion and start maybe heading towards Dimity or something like that. We'll have to see. Here we're going to have to deal with the rebels, so I'm going to bring you guys over towards Leptis Magna. Ready to deal with them. We still want a little bit more replenishment. Oh, they got Kantara and Palatina still. Alright, food. Okay, is still an issue. I suppose it's not surprising given that we've got 2 garrison encampments. But we do have 2 fishing jetties, and nothing really else that really should be providing it, but we'll get it sorted. In the meantime, let's take the undeveloped land here. And for the moment I'm thinking, how's religion looking? Religious difference is still -5. Even Christianity, Greek and Roman paganism is going up. If we can get consecrated ground, I mean, we could afford it. I'll grab it. Because we can afford it, given the fact that we're building the fishing jetties. They will be built at the same time. So that'll be them secured. We'll let you have one more turn of replenishment and then we'll send you off to deal with them. Right, you guys. I'm going to force march you because I did see the Ostrogoths are making their way slowly but surely towards Aquilia again. You can see them here near Damavia. Salona is the only place left in the whole area. It's not surprising, I guess, given it's this was meant to be an area where the enemy can just capture and deal with them as they wish. But still, it's not pleasant to see, if I'm being honest. Hi, how are you guys all looking? So far, my little fleet here seems to be doing the job I've wanted it to do. Like, I'm seeing... Okay, we got the Franks near here. The Franks must have secured another area then, because the Saxons took them out originally. But we still have, like, the Jutes and that, and they're not been able to make their way over. In fact, could we... We can still recruit... Ooh. I didn't think of that. I can take advantage of this, for sure. We'll get... How many can we go for? 3 units at a time. Right, we'll do that. We'll start recruiting a few more ships, just to be able to prepare against any attacks coming in from the north with the Jutes. And otherwise, I'm pretty happy with that situation. How about everybody else? You're still busy here, although I did need you to do that. You haven't been doing that. We did send another guy, I noticed over here. Let's put you in here, and we can start you off, converting over. I'm still keeping these just because they are the best options right now, giving us the food and the public order we need for the province. Do I want to swap this over? Not right away. At the moment it's relatively okay, especially since we got the priest in. I wonder if can we recruit any more priests? I'm not sure. We'll have to sort that out at some point. Demolition's all done, everybody's done. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is when I have to put the taxes back up. So if you remember, we've got them on low right now. Gives a little bit of extra growth, which is never a bad thing. But eventually, it's going to cause some big issues. And it is quite the substantial, it doubles the amount of money we'll be getting. Something we could potentially do is just go back and forth. Get that extra surge of money when we need it, and make do with the public order for one turn, but otherwise manage okay. Something to consider anyway. We'll grab some more of you, just because why not? And then, what have we got? General. Let's get infantry commander with you, and... Ducks? Sure. And you for the guy down here, we'll go for this one too, and also ducks. If I did ask you to leave, how does it look? +5, right. Okay, that's got some potential. If we are going to try and go for Dimity, we're going to have to either walk through the desert, which, as you can see from the skull, was not going to be a good idea for our attrition, or we can head by the coast, and then we can push down into Dimity. I don't know what's going to be the best way to do it, either this way or this way. Either way, we're going to be taking attrition. Or we can be taking attrition right now because you've decided that'd be the fastest way. Sure. Just get yourself up there. Right, just do that for me, okay? Right. At least over there is more or less secure. I want to double check. We'll end the turn. I will make sure to double check to see how we're doing in terms of the other settlements and how public order and that is looking in general across the board, because that's still a priority to keep things under control. And there's no point really trying to go out and conquer new territory if all the places we've got already is, rebelling against us. Oh, that was a close one. So I've just decided to auto-resolve a bunch of battles that have been taking place with rebels attacking settlements. And we had this situation at Leptis Magna where the rebel army decided to come and attack. We did lose a couple of full units, not surprising given how, badly damaged a lot of our units are. But nevertheless, we were able to win. We will take the replenishments. And anything else? Oh. I didn't realise it got to this stage already.
They made ready for war. The world had fallen into shadow. The earth grew cold, and the wind whispered of death. And I beheld a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of scales in his hand. Attila was born. All knelt before him, for they knew he would devour the earth and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. Attila was born from darkness and despair.
Okay, I didn't realise we've got to this part of the campaign already. We've managed to get through, 20 turns. Surprisingly, it's taken this long given how much we have to deal with each episode, given the size of our empire and that. But wow, we've now reached the point where Attila is born. So once we go through these pop-ups, one of them should tell me here, Attila, the birth. He was a man born into the world to shake nations, the scourge of all lands, whose name brought fear to all mankind. Far to the east, in the Scythian race, a child is born to the royal Hunnic line. Destined for greatness, he was named Attila. Then we get consumption. We've completed 3 of 6 bonus objectives for Chapter 1. And we've now got Chapter 2, Desolation. Attila was born from darkness and despair. So we have to survive until spring 420. That was when Attila will basically become the faction leader of the Huns, and they will start being a massive pain to deal with. We're talking constantly spawning armies. Once an army's killed, another fresh one will spawn straight away. We're going to have to deal with Attila himself, and he is a pain in the ass to deal with simply because he will keep refusing to die. But we've made it to the next chapter, guys. So I'm going to end it here for today. Went on maybe a little longer than I was planning to, but I think now is an actual good point to bring today's episode to an end. So next episode, we're going to try and eventually deal with down Africa. This has got Garama, Kidimus, and over here, Dimiti. And we'll be able to secure the entire Sahara province. We'll go after them one at a time, and we'll have 2 legions for us to be able to potentially do that. Everywhere else, it's just a case of trying to keep things together. Looks like one of my fleets has been finished. I forgot about that one, to be honest. But we'll be able to send this off and eventually do some damage, maybe even send them to attack some of the naval settlements that we may face. We don't know. This one's been continuing to replenish. That's good. Otherwise, we still need to secure our borders, we still need to secure and upgrade our settlements, in particular start getting our hands on some proper Roman infantry. I think we've still got a ways to go before we're in a position to be able to... Let me check. We're at 46%, we're nearly there. Nearly there. I believe once we get to 50, we can start recruiting the Roman legionaries and things like that, and that will be a fantastic time for us. I think then we'll start recycling out some of the old legions, we'll replace them with new ones that we'll be able to recruit here at Maximus Sequanum. We are going to have sort of little issues like public order still being an issue here, but maybe we'll have to upgrade this and start working it that way, I don't know. But we'll have a few options. But that's the end of today's episode, guys. So thank you for watching today's one. I hope you enjoyed, and you do join me next time for some more Attila. But until then, everybody, take care, and goodbye for now.